Hey, crew, welcome back to another episode of the Skipper Report. This one is in the series of the women in Telemark Skiing. And on this episode, I sit down and speak with Sophie Studd, all the way from Australia, from Perisher Ski Resort. We spend about an hour talking about most things Telemark and learning a lot about Australia. And she is a level 4 Telemark instructor down there, and she's also an Alpine ski instructor. So grab yourself a beverage, get yourself into a comfy repose position, and enjoy this episode with Sophie Studd in the Women of Telemark Skiing series. Good evening.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
You're great, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. I know it's 7 o'clock in the morning here, and I'm saying good evening.
Well, it's evening for me, so
yeah.
you.
At least I got it right this time. A couple of days ago, I interviewed Anthony Hunter, and it was a real kerfuffle because I missed the time zone change by 2 hours, and then he had dumped some beer on his brand new laptop. So we couldn't communicate. Yeah, it was crazy. So, Sophie, welcome to the Skippy Report, the Women in Telemark Skiing series.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah, this is cool. I've been following you for a while. So I don't know how your name came up in the conversation with Anthony, but he called you a firecracker.
Oh, that's good. That's nice to hear. And likewise, I've been following you for a little while.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So tell the listeners who you are and where you are.
So I'm Sophie. I'm from Australia, although originally England.
Okay.
The accent throws people. And I instruct out of Perisher in New South Wales.
Very cool. I was just researching where it is, and it's not, if I can recall, kind of not where all the other ones are, right? It's kind of a little more inland, or is it still in the main range?
Yeah, so we have the sort of main cluster of sort of New South Wales mountains. We have our, I guess some say opposition.
Oh, okay.
Or Thredbo, and then a smaller resort, Selwyn, in the New South Wales. But it's only a 5-hour drive up and over down the other side of the mountain or so to Mount Hotham and Falls Creek and those guys in Victoria.
Okay. So. That's cool. And you know what? Like, a lot of people don't realize that when you live in a mountainous region, and I never realized that there were as many mountains in Australia as I have been looking at recently. But a lot of people, when you have to travel here, like in the Northeast, the mountains run north-south, so it's easy and quick to get the places that are north-south, but to go from here to there, east-west, is several hours sometimes. There's no direct route. I'm sure it's the same way there.
Yeah, it's definitely sort of, you think it would be a short, quick and easy. But yeah, for us, obviously, it's often crossing states. So for me last year, I was fortunate enough to get down to Mount Hotham to help out with a bunch of Telemark stuff.
Cool.
And yeah, that means you drive down one side of the mountain to then go back up the other side.
Exactly.
To then essentially reach where you need to be.
So what brought an English woman to Australia to teach skiing?
Well, so I moved to Australia quite a long time ago, and funny enough, was brought over courtesy what my dad does, and I've kind of followed his footsteps a little bit.
Okay.
In my off-season time, I work for the same company,
right? Which
basically we work with the Australian Antarctic Division.
Oh,
so
wow.
Flying all the scientists down to the bases there. So he was a pilot. I'm not quite so important. I just serve the tea and coffee. But yeah, so essentially was brought over for that. And, instructing in Australia, I'll be coming on to my, I think it's 10th season with Perisher this year, this coming season. So it's kind of exciting, but also kind of, oh my God, has it really been that long? Instructing in Australia came a little bit later for me. I instructed a bit more so elsewhere first. So yeah,
And
did Europe and all that sort of stuff.
I was just going to ask, did you take up skiing when you lived in England and were in and around Europe?
Yeah. So I was plonked on skis, as many are, as a little 3-year-old, and sort of sent on my way, and got the bug.
Right.
And we spent many a holiday as families. Actually, there was about, I think in the end, 5 families we all used to ski together.
Oh, wow.
And out of about 9 kids, 5 of us ended up getting our certification.
Oh, cool.
I'm the only one that's actually sort of used it as a pathway and sort of kept going and used it as a career.
Right.
Everyone else, it was a bit more of a rite of passage sort of thing.
Right.
So grew up skiing in the Porte du Soleil in France.
Okay.
Quite lucky.
I find it, and I know it's because of the lay of the land in England, but how many people, and I'm going to say Europeans, I'm not sure, I've never been there, so I don't really know what the culture is, because here in North America, I don't know, I don't go away, it might just be me, I don't go away on these big ski trips to mountains and all that sort of stuff. I guess I'm fortunate because I have a cottage where there are mountains, and I just go there and ski. But I guess I do have friends who, if they're not coming down to the cottage to ski with us, that they take little, weekend jaunts to the mountains, that sort of stuff. But I find it's quite the culture for English people to go to Europe and come to North America to ski and that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's kind of cool. And I remember listening to a podcast from Josh Madsen with John Faulkner, who's an Australian who spent a lot of his time skiing in Europe. And I was like, holy shit, that's a long ways away to go and ski.
Yeah, it's interesting, the sort of, as a, growing up as a Brit, because everything like that is so, easy accessible. It's a, couple of hours short flight to the mountains. Like, whereas for you guys, obviously, you have that access, it's on your doorstep.
Yes.
Whereas in the UK, unless you want to rock an indoor slope, you don't really have the same sort of option. I mean, you can bear all the elements and go up to Scotland.
Yep, right.
But obviously, that comes with its own risks and questionable things there. And likewise, there's probably another cost of flying somewhere if you want to catch the 12-hour train up there.
Right.
So, and, as you say, the flying from Australia to Europe, I ended up stopping doing seasons in Europe because, was a lot commuting
Right.
And I gave Japan a shot instead, closer. Easier.
Right. So how long of a flight is Japan from Australia? A couple hours?
Oh no, it's still a decent flight. It's
just
not quite 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
I think it's under. I mean, I should know, as a flight attendant, I should know all these sort of timings and things, but
like 8 hours?
To me, it sort of seems like a short flight in comparison, anyway.
Right.
In my mind, because we can get there on a tank of fuel.
Okay.
It's short.
Right. Okay. Well, you're in the business, right? You go buy tanks of fuel. Yeah, I know that's like us when people say we have most of our skiing are on the East Coast, and in between there's like 3,000 kilometers of not much skiing, or if there is, it's not really big skiing. So, I'm fortunate being in the East. We have so many more ski resorts to choose from than being out West. I know Western people, they'll slam me, but there isn't the variety of places to go to out West that we have here in the East. So, I consider myself fortunate. And when I'm at the cottage, 3-hour drive to a place, I don't know, I can probably hit more than 100 ski resorts in 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty fortunate. So I guess I don't feel the need to travel out West. So, so you've been teaching skiing at Perisher for 10 years, you said. Obviously, you started Alpine Skiing, Alpine Skiing instructing.
Yeah.
And what got you into Telemark Skiing?
I mean, all of it in, I guess my instructing career in general has all been a bit of probably how I live my life a little bit, fly by the seat of my pants and a bit of a whim. Yeah, as you say, I alpined long before.
Right.
I didn't actually start telemark skiing until I started working for Perisher.
Okay.
And some good friends of mine and everyone told me it'd be a great idea. You may have heard Telly Tuesdays.
Yes.
It's a big thing that we have going on in Perisher. And yeah, so was lucky, rented some gear from Bruce at Wilderness and gave it a crack. Bear in mind, I was coming from, an Alpine background and thought I was the bee's knees and in my race boots, 130 flex and all that. So to the only things I could rent at the time in my size were, they stick in my mind vividly, is these bright yellow and orange sort of duckbill numbers.
Right.
And that's all they could fit. So I've gone in, we've all sort of rounded up in a little circle as you do to start the night, intro into telly. I've clipped in, thought, yeah, this is going to be great. Flex forward like you do in a ski boot, Alpine boot. You can imagine what happened. I, in front of everyone, fell flat on my face.
Instant feedback.
And that sort of was very much my start to my telly life, is that very much a, say, scrappy start.
Right.
But yeah, from then on, every Tuesday night, just sort of got hooked, perfected the reverse penguin fairly rapidly, as you can imagine. And
right.
I actually started off, I guess, let's say reverse telemarking.
Oh, yes.
Before. I don't know why, something just like, to me, that just seemed to make sense at the time.
Right.
To do everything the wrong way round, but
yes.
Stuck with it, persevered. And yeah, as of last season, I received my level 4.
Oh, cool. Congratulations.
So thank you. Which I believe puts me the second female
wow.
In the Australian system to receive that. And I've been very fortunate, as the first female was a bit of a mentor for me.
Oh, cool.
In seasons in Japan and stuff.
Who would that be?
Deanna.
Okay, yeah. Deanna Rivera?
So
okay.
I believe you would have followed or spoken to her.
Yes.
She's amazing and definite telly goals in a woman.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Her and she's been very helpful and supportive through the whole sort of process.
Right.
She was going for or finishing off her level 4 when I finally took the bullet and did my level 2 in Japan.
Right.
Then hopefully this season I will be joining, well, assuming all things go well, I'll be joining forces and hopefully examining people to be telemark instructors myself.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the goal anyway. So that's sort of, I've gone from basically falling flat on my face.
Yes.
And making a complete ass of myself, which to be fair, I still do to this day. If you're not falling, you're not trying. Right?
I say that all the time.
Yeah. And so even in lessons, if, but with an Alpine or telly, if I fall over, I'm just showing you how you really need to push yourself.
Right.
And that falling is okay, no matter the level.
Exactly.
And look at sad recent events with Lindsey Vonn.
Yes.
Major crash and fall.
Yes.
Even the guys that are at the top of the game, they fall.
Yeah.
It's all part of it. It's all part of it.
Well, like you said, you know what? If you're not falling, you don't know how to land. And that's the biggest thing, I've learned that I don't fight the skis. I just kind of go with the flow when the stuff goes sideways. And thankfully, I'm going to touch some wood real quick here because I'm married to a Murphy and Murphy's Law. I've been able to survive and walk away from some of my crashes that my friends have walked up to me and said, "Hey, dude, are you okay?" I was like, "Yep." Skis have come off when they shouldn't have come off, and I've skidded down the hill for a long distance, so. Yeah.
I would say, I'm pretty lucky I've got the fall part down, Pat. Can fall like a squishy marshmallow, and it's the getting back up that tends to be the slightly more complicated part.
Oh, yes.
especially depending if you've lost a ski or not.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I guess I had a little bit of a delay to my, let's say, telemark trajectory.
Okay.
In the sense that a couple of days prior to when I was originally meant to sit my level 4 is I had a courtesy bit of a check from someone else and hit me hard enough to cause 2 fractures to my back and face and knock me out cold.
Oh my gosh.
So it's been a bit of a sort of weird, slow comeback to everything. And,
yeah.
You know,
I love,
yeah.
I don't know if it's the Australian thing or the British thing, how you said a courtesy check.
Yeah. So,
I wouldn't have used that word, those words.
Yeah. So they slammed into me pretty hard apparently, and I still have the bent ski to show for it as well.
Wow.
As the aches and pains that weren't there originally.
Yeah. I always used to tell people, I remember this, we were training on this one place when I did some racing, and some people came into the course, and I was yelling at them. I was like, dude, if I hit you, you're going to die because I'm way bigger than you are. You know, if I land on you, that's it. They're going to have to peel you out of the snow.
Yeah. It's terrifying when that sort of thing happens. I've had similar in a course, but with a very, very small child.
Right.
And the options were basically, do I take out this really tiny human, or there's just about enough gap between me and the net?
Yeah.
Yes and no.
Yes.
Part of the net. So I ended up sort of, flipping over the top of it, sort of thing.
Right. Wow.
I came off manageable. If I'd hit the kid, it would have been way worse. But yeah, you need eyes everywhere.
Oh yeah,
in all of this, don't you?
Yeah, I often wonder. I take a look at people who are skiing on the runs when I'm riding the chair, and then I kind of think about me when I'm skiing down. My head is always moving from side to side. You know, and I always try to have a predictable corridor that I'm skiing in, but when I get up to speed, I love to cruise and take up the entire trail with these big giant turns. And I can get in somebody's way that, I know the uphill person's supposed to yield right of way, but sometimes they can't if all of a sudden I'm, changing my trajectory and taking up more real estate.
Yeah. Especially sometimes, when you grip an edge and you just let over, you just got to, especially in tele, go where the ski sort of wants you to go a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool. So what are you skiing on? Your equipment.
So my equipment, well, sadly, I believe my boots are going to have to change to a pair of Scarpas because my beloved boots have been cut, axed. They don't make them anymore. So I was in an old pair of NTN Scots.
Yes.
Yeah, I got really excited the other day on eBay. Thought I'd found them, but they weren't NTN.
Oh, jeez.
Broke my heart. So I'm actually.
I'm very disappointed in Scott because I came across. I'm going to say he was the vice president of Scott here in Canada, and he guaranteed me they were going to continue making Telemark boots.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I thought they were going to, after obviously the garment situation, I thought, okay, because we really don't have that many brands to choose from.
That's right.
So you got Scarpa or Crispy.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, I'm fortunate enough in two of my amazing mentors and trainers and everything I have at work with me, both wear a different one. So one's team Scarpa, one's team Crispy. I'm like, well, now that I don't have Scott,
yes,
who do I believe? Who do I go with?
Right.
But yeah, so from a ski standpoint, I telemark on what I like to ski on. So, and because I do primarily these days ski piste.
Yes.
And as one of my trainers gets slightly annoyed with me is I like to ski fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I ski on an Atomic Red Star.
Okay.
The X9S.
Cool.
So nice, stiff,
yep,
decent ski underfoot. and then the 22 Designs Outlaw.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah.
So, I had, they need so just like my boots and my bindings it's going to sound bad, was initially smug with my friends a little bit, who also went through a lot of the exam process with me. One joined me as a level 4 as well, and the other one is still going to be joining me at some stage.
Right.
And I put it down to me being female, maybe a bit more cautious as I'd made and been careful. Mine had lasted most of my instructing life.
Right.
On the same set bindings. No issues. And then this season, they finally sort of bit the dust. Thankfully, not on a race.
Right.
Not on the race that I managed. I think I cracked something in them.
Right.
I've yet to figure out what. No one seems to be able to figure it out for me.
Oh wow.
And I'd rather fix than replace.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've done me pretty well.
And I'm going to hypothesize equipment is marginally more expensive in Australia than it is here in North America or Europe.
I believe so. I mean, I think the sort of average, not an instructor or
just the regular Joe
like that. I think buying a set of Outlaws these days, I think sets you back like $550, $600.
Oh, that's not bad. That's better than what I paid. I got a pair for my wife out of retail, and I think by the time I got them here, they were close to $800. And I think the Canadian dollar and the Australian dollar are similar in value.
Canadian and Australian, I believe so.
They're usually similar.
US is obviously stronger, but I think it was about that last I price checked. Oh, well, actually, that's how much I paid for mine.
Right.
So that was obviously quite a few years, quite a while ago, and I priced the Bandits.
Oh yes.
Because they're pretty much the same sort of technology and setup and everything, minus the touring component.
Right.
So as I'm predominantly in resort, don't need that. So I'm like, that can save me a few bob. And that I can get for about $450, $500.
Oh, nice.
Over here.
Nice.
So
I recently installed a pair of Bandits for the first time. There's a little bit of a learning curve because of the brake and that sort of stuff. So I don't know if you install your own equipment or you have somebody else install your bindings on your skis.
I'm very lucky when I sort of managed to twist the arm of my mentor.
Okay.
And he has done most of my setups for me.
Oh, so, nice.
It's handy. In our sort of locker room at Perisher, we have I like to refer to it as like the telly row now.
Yes.
Which is basically you have our technical director, and my mentor and everyone. So there's 3 of us all within one row.
Oh, nice.
Sort of side by side. So it's very easy. Much to probably their annoyance through all this process, being that close to me, bugging them about various questions and how are we going to get telly bigger and better.
Right.
But yeah, it means they've also
this is
to help me out with things like that.
This is a good time to make telly bigger and better, because there certainly is a lot more traction in our sport. I was just messaging Josh Madsen yesterday and saying how World Telemark Day really exploded this year by the number of posts that I saw on social media.
Yeah, I think it's grown like exponentially in the last few years. I think, I mean, the serious FOMO, obviously doing having a bit of a summer and everything here. And like you said, seeing all the posts and seeing all the events of people putting out Telemark stuff.
Yeah.
And, get-togethers happening so much more often now.
Yes.
Whereas, when I started Telemark, it was, we were the sort of like very subtle, sneaky.
Yep.
We were our own, like, if you know,
Yes.
sort of crew.
Right.
But yeah, now and for example, so in Perisher and everything, last few years I've started, I like to call it Telemark Takeover.
Yes. I think you just put a post up about that, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I've just launched all of that sort of stuff for this year. And this year is going to be the first year I'm trying for 2 takeovers.
Oh, cool.
Because, what's better than 1 is 2, obviously. Yep. So more so because I've been finding, because I've often done it at the end of a season.
Right.
And that's worked really well because obviously you sort of spruik and sort of tell people about it.
Yep.
You fly and you tell people throughout the season. But what I really want to happen is, all of those telly people, if they can get together at the beginning of the season,
yep,
nice and early, you then have a telly friend to ski with for the rest of the season, or, you can start to sort of do more trips potentially because, you've got a couple new telly buddies to share the load, share the cost,
right,
all of that side of things. But even in between the first year and the second year, the amount of people doubled.
Wow.
So it just kind of goes to show that we're out there.
Yes.
To be fair, I guess most are probably obviously backcountry and things like that, so not so much prevalent in resorts.
Right.
However, I think a lot more resort riding is starting to happen.
Right. Yes.
And I think that's where people are getting to have a bit more of understanding. It's becoming a bit more accessible because they can see it a little bit more.
Right. Yes. Yep.
People are very much, if they don't see it, they don't know how to get the gear or all those sort of things, then it does get put in the too hard basket.
Yes.
Or, I'll stick to what I know.
Right.
And in the last season, finally managed to get a little bit more in-house training running.
Cool.
Which meant more instructors were starting to give it a go, opening up a whole nother sort of aspect of telly skiers.
Yeah.
Then obviously, when they get hooked, then they, I guess like myself, falling into it and sort of sharing that love for it to everyone else. You have people like, oh God, it just looks like so much hard work. And that's one of the things that made me fall in love with it a little bit.
Right.
Was the idea it's a little bit more muscular effort.
Yes.
But when you get the hang of things and the technique falls into place, it's the age-old saying of work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Find that sweet spot, and it feels 100 times better than Alpine.
Yeah, I know.
It feels comfortable.
As I've become older and wiser and smarter and more efficient in my skiing, I can last much longer through the day than when I first started out. It'd be lunchtime and my legs were burning and screaming at me, but now, I can ski all day and I'm toast at the end of the day at 3:30. I'm done because we tend to ski pretty hard, my wife and I, because the resort where we ski, there aren't many people, so it's pretty much yo-yo skiing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and lots of times she's done, if we do it just right and we snack on the chair and, we go in for lunch around 1 or 1:30, she's done by then. If we're skiing from 9 till 1:30 nonstop, she's like, yeah, I think I'm done. So we just pack it in. And I was like, you know what, if you can last that long. And this year we were riding the chair at Owl's Head, and I asked her, it was such a beautiful day, and I said, do you want N or N+1? She goes, what do you mean? I said, pick one, N or N+1. And she goes, N+1. I said, okay, I'll let you know when we're at N+1. So she did 31 runs at our resort. It's a 2,500 foot mountain. And that took her all day. And I was like, there you go. You skied 31 runs. She usually skis somewhere between 20 and 25.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I love skiing at Owl's Head. And at the end of the year, we went on the weekend. Excuse me. And I quickly got reminded why we don't usually ski on weekends. The lodge was so full of racers and chalet bunnies, and there were like no tables for lunch. You know, I was like, yep, no, we're not coming back here on weekends again.
Yeah, that's a mistake you only need to make once for the most part. Like,
yes.
Normally more than happy to work weekends and then have a
Right.
weekday or anything as my day off, because it's just chaos.
So you
probably imagine that on a smaller scale resort.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we've got like one main building,
right.
where most people obviously stop for their lunch.
Yes.
And obviously we're all humans, we all stop at the same sort of time.
Yep.
And lessons stop at a certain time. So it can be, as you say, full of races and just manic during certain periods of the season.
Yes. Yeah, I know. We try to take our lunch at 11 o'clock in the morning. I get her up early, feed her breakfast early, so we get to, almost first chair. And then around 11, we say, we should head to the lodge and have lunch somewhere between 11 and 11:30. So I was going to ask you, when I was looking at Perisher on Google, and I saw, is it called Holy Cow?
Blue Cow.
Oh, Blue Cow. Okay. Is that part of Perisher?
Yeah. So
wow, that's a vast valley to ski in.
So it hasn't always been.
Okay.
It has been since I've been working there. But yeah, once upon a time it was separate. But we actually have a ski tube that, like, if you're not a strong skier or don't want to do the traverse, you can actually catch a ski tube from Front Valley, which is the main part, and that's where I work out of, up to Blue Cow. So Perisher is actually sort of built up of, I think it's 4 different parts of the resort.
Okay.
So you've got like Front Valley, that's like, which is where I operate out of. So there's 3 different ski schools as well.
Wow.
So Front Valley, which is the main part of the resort. So if you were to pull into the main big car park, that's where you sort of start off at.
Right.
You then have Smiggins, Smiggin Holes, which is a smaller part of the resort, which you would have to have driven past to get to Front Valley in the main part. We also have then Blue Cow, which you can either traverse or ski up to. And then you can drop down the back side of that and find where most of the Telemark skiers hang out.
Okay.
And it's Guthaga.
Okay.
So Guthaga tends to be where you find a lot of the Telemark skiers and backcountry guys hang out, sort of that side of the mountain a little bit more. Tends to be a bit quieter. Some awesome sort of runs that people just sort of forget about, or don't have time to do the traverse to get all the way over to that part of the resort. And then obviously we still have like Mount Perisher and stuff like that, which is all technically still part of the main front part of the resort.
Okay, yeah, I did see that there was actually a Mount Perisher. So yeah, that's quite an extensive resort. Yeah,
I mean, as far as like Southern Hemisphere sort of Australian resorts go, I mean, I'd say there is a reason probably that we attract 50% of Aussie clientele, I guess, in the sense that the accessibility and the sort of range of like beginner progression and the different runs, and
has variety for everybody, terrain for everybody.
Yeah, well, lots of people more threadbare, I guess, give us crap and say, oh, we're the land of the traverse.
Right.
A little bit, depends on how you do it.
Right.
But also we have a lot of T-bars, so don't be afraid of the leg burn.
Right.
Because sometimes, depending on the weather, it can sometimes be no reprieve for your legs.
Oh, wow.
But it does mean you can get around fairly quickly and easily.
Yes.
Across all parts.
I know. I like how you use. So when you say ski tube, is that like a magic carpet that's covered?
No, it's an actual little train.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah. So if you don't want to pay for the New South Wales Parks Pass or anything like that to go up and park and be up the main part of the mountain, you can pay for basically a train pass.
Okay.
And that will take you up to Front Valley and the main part of the resort, from a place called Bullock's Flat, which is about 15 minutes out of Jindabyne. And then, up to Perisher. If you don't want to do that, you can still catch the tube from Perisher to Blue Cow.
Okay.
Which is that's all included in your lift pass.
Wow, that's cool.
From Bullock's Flat up is separate, but yeah, the Blue Cow part, because often if the weather turns or anything like that, you might have to catch the ski tube back or ski tube up there,
right? Depending
on what lifts are open and accessible.
So here's a question.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different.
When you were talking about weather, do Aussies run winter tires much in their vehicles?
Only if you've got, let's say, more dollars than cents.
Okay.
You don't need them.
Okay.
So
the weather's not that bad.
It can be. It
can
be
it?
Bad,
yeah.
But for the most part, so I cruise around and I drive up the mountain all the time, and I'm in a beaten up, very, very old, like 2003 Kluger. So she's all-wheel drive, normal tires,
right? And
she handles everything fine. However, if you're not an all-wheel or four-wheel drive,
yes.
Chains are required a lot,
right? Okay.
But there's various different chain bays leading up to the resort where they'll make you turn around if you don't have them, or you can cop the heavy duty fine if you're caught going past one.
Right.
And Victorian resorts are a little bit different in the sense that regardless of whether you're all-wheel or four-wheel drive, you have to carry chains.
Oh, wow.
Whether you need to use them or not, you have to carry them.
Right.
All the time.
Wow.
So, yeah, whereas in New South Wales, it's not a requirement for us to carry them.
Right.
If you're all-wheel or four-wheel. But, yeah, for the most part, we do get a lot of people, especially during school holidays, that don't drive to the conditions, let's say, or take their fairly little itty-bitty car that probably can't, handle a normal road, let alone a mountain road.
Right.
But we're quite fortunate. The road up to Perisher and Thredbo and all that sort of part is, especially probably compared to what you guys are used to, is peanuts.
Right.
Easy. Cross the border to Victoria, it does start to get a little bit more hairy.
Yes.
But can be part of the fun sometimes.
I live on the western part of our 401, which is the main corridor between Toronto and Montreal, say. There's wider area, but listeners will know Toronto to Montreal. And this part of the highway, probably it could be up to 160 kilometers in a snowstorm, sometimes will be closed in multiple places because people don't drive to the conditions, or they don't have winter tires on. And, there's like, even we saw a post where a couple of coach buses, they got off. We have these emergency detour routes, which are reliable roads that are county roads. They're always clean and salted. But me as a local, I know the road, so I don't follow those roads. But when we were away skiing, my wife saw a post, and these two coach buses were on this little side road that I go on. I was like, what the hell are they doing on there? And they were both stuck, and like the tow trucks couldn't even get in to get them out. I was like, some drivers, they just don't have common sense.
Well, as they say, common sense ain't so common. So.
That's right. Yeah, and like my daughter, she drives that corridor every day for work, maybe 100 kilometers of it. And, she the last time. It may have just been 2 weeks ago. And we haven't really had, the snow's been gone for a few weeks now, but we get our freak storms. And I got up, I knew it was snowing, and I looked out at our deck in the backyard, and it's covered. And I went down, there was like 4 inches of snow that probably fell in 3 hours. And she was going to work at 4 o'clock in the morning. And she is a professional driver. She's like a firefighter. So she drives fire trucks and that sort of stuff. She was on the side of the she thought she was going to have to stop because the whiteouts were so bad. She didn't see anybody else on the highway. She traveled a distance that may have normally taken 15 minutes. It took her 45, and she's like, yeah, I'm turning around. I'm going home. I'm not going into work. Yeah, so it took her an hour and a half to probably travel 50 kilometers.
Yeah, it's definitely always worth just, if in doubt, like, call in sick, say you can't come. It's not worth fighting through a lot of that sort of stuff.
And her bosses know where she lives, and that she does try. She'll say, okay, well, I'll wait, and I'll come into work a little later today. I know we had a snowstorm at the cottage. It's the first time I've kept my truck in 4-wheel drive all the way to the ski hill. I usually try not to drive in 4-wheel drive because it chews up the gas. But it was the first time, and another friend of mine, he says, "Yep, I was in 4-wheel drive the entire way." Yeah, it's get crazy amounts of snow sometimes.
Yeah, see, we don't tend to need to worry about that too much. I mean, this last season, I think it's been the most. I mean, some people will dispute me, but I think it's one of the most consistently good seasons that we've had probably since I've been working.
Okay.
Parashow and things, and yeah, there's definitely some questionable days on the road, but nothing too crazy. It was like, for the longest period, we had all 4 connecting parts of the resort open. So
wow,
often
that's great.
So often when the snow fall gets a bit low, then you might have to, catch the bus around to Smiggins or catch the ski tube up to Blue Cow. The little connection parts of reversing isn't open. But this year we're able, for the most part, I think it was more everyone started to leave the resort, go back to whatever countries they came from and things like that, being more of an issue than the lack of snow for a change.
Right. That's great. Yeah, that's like here. We've had a banner year. I think at our resort we had 400 centimeters of snow, which was really good. And then I think I always reference Jay Peak in my podcast because the way it's made, the 2 mountains are 10 or 15 miles apart as the crow flies. And the way that mountain is situated and how it is situated, it gets like 2.5 times more of the snow than our resort does. It's nuts. Yeah. So talking about a banner year of skiing. So on average, how much snow would Perisher get?
Hard to say, considering we fake a lot of it.
Oh, well, yeah. So do we in the East. That's why we ski on ice.
That's a good question. I try to think of what we'd get. Put it this way, you don't always want to be wearing your nicest skis, because there's always some surprises here and there.
Yes.
But for the most part, because we do have such good snowmaking, that the groomers are generally on point.
Oh, good.
And yeah, we have probably, I think that, well, other resorts are catching up to us now. One of the largest snowmaking in Australia.
Cool.
But yeah, so it's consistent. You can slide around on most things, but don't expect full-on powder days, that's for sure.
Right.
But I used to ski a lot on Salomon QSTs.
Oh, yes.
With a 92 underfoot for Telemark.
Yep.
Because mucked around on that in Japan and things like that. That was, that was the ski I taught Alpine on and stuff in Japan.
Right.
Tried to play around with that in Australia.
No
No need for No need for a ski that big.
Right. And that's
But
funny
that's
that you say a ski
personal
that big
preference.
that's 92 underfoot.
Hmm.
Because here in North America, people would think that that's kind of small. Like I'm 6'6". I don't ski anything wider than I'm going to say, I think my present ski is a 96 underfoot. But if you shrink me down to the average size human and then shrink my skis down, it's probably like about a 90. And there are people that you see on a resort are skiing 105, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and it's all, it's a like, all personal preference and perspective and stuff. Because there's a lot of people that say 92 underfoot. That's nothing. That's the widest I've ever skied underfoot is 102.
Right.
And that was the most god awful ski I've ever skied in my life. Oh, actually no, one ski probably tops it, but that was a Rossi Soul Sevens.
Oh yes, yep.
How they can say have soul in the name, one of the most soulless ski around. If you want a limp noodle under your foot,
right,
by all means go for something like that. But I like my knees.
Yes.
It's funny because everyone, when they see you telly, they're like, oh God, that must be so hard on your knees. Oh God, and I'm like, no, it's really not. If anything, my knees have been stronger, better, healthier since becoming a telemark skier. I actually had knee surgery a year or two before I took up telemark skiing.
Oh, cool. Well, not cool, but
yeah, but,
it's good for the backstory for telemark skiing.
Yeah, proof that you can. And now my knee is probably, I believe it's actually stronger and better than it was pre-surgery.
Right.
So it's not as bad on your knees as people think. I think it's one of those things. It all comes down to your equipment and your technique.
Yeah.
How much things are going to hurt.
Exactly.
And the fatter the ski,
the
harder you're going to have to work your knees and things like that. The amount of extra pressure you're putting on them to lay it over. And I mean, fine, if you want to cruise around on a flat ski, that's fine. Go for a fat one. But otherwise you're really going to have to work for it.
I know I just released a podcast this morning before I started the interview with you. And so yours is going to come out next week. And when I was up in Northern Ontario a couple of years ago, Ann and I traded skis because he wanted to try these skis that Josh Madsen made for me. And so I put his on, which were much wider, and I went to turn. And I was like, oh, yeah, I got to put more effort into turning and getting them up on edge. And I was like, I don't like this. This is like way too much work. And I don't know if you've listened to my podcast, but I don't have very good knees because I've abused them. But telemark skiing, like my wife will tell you, she doesn't hear me complain about my knees too much in ski season.
Yeah, I've listened to a few. You've commented on the fact that like during the season, and it makes sense though. You're the age old saying like use it or lose it, but
exactly
telemark and things like that. And I find sometimes, I guess, a day of telemark skiing versus a day of instructing or training alpine, because we have such a greater range of movement, you don't feel that constant pressure under one spot in quite the same way.
Okay. I was going to ask you that. Because you're a professional instructor, that, the difference, because people comment about that, but you're the perfect person to talk about that, about the difference and the more dynamic movement of telemark skiing versus alpine skiing.
I think it it obviously varies a lot depending on the level, I guess, of each discipline that you're at.
Right.
And whether you're like how you're crossing over or what, how much you're doing of each. But as a whole, I think if you're probably an intermediate of both, you probably feel a lot more comfortable with telemark.
Right.
And actually same with intermediate in general.
Yeah.
Let's say that's where you're comfortable with, surviving pretty much any run.
Right.
When you start to push beyond that and start to go into more the advanced, yes, that's when things are going to hurt a lot more. You're going to be pushing your body
right
to the extremes. But for the most part, because we have a bigger range of, you're constantly lunging the flow from one lead leg to the next. For myself, I personally find, you have a bit more of a flow of the lactic acid through your legs.
Right.
In Alpine, at the intermediate stage, we tend to set and forget.
Okay.
We sort of get into that comfortable position. All right, like if I'm the center of my ski, I'm just going to sort of tip over, or I'm, going to steer a little bit, or I'm just going to, as a female, we're all guilty of this as females, is working what we got, I guess, is the easiest way to put it.
Right.
Swing the odd hip here and there.
Yes.
And therefore you're quite static with your movements.
Right.
Whereas obviously with Telemark, having to sort of have that long,
yes,
lead leg, rear foot sort of blend, and there's a constant movement, a little bit like being on a bike, really.
Yes. Yeah.
A little bit more pedal motion.
Yeah.
To a degree.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a little bit of, I guess, and we use the analogy quite a bit with Alpine pedaling to shift our weight and balance, but there's no actual sort of full range with that like there is with Tele.
Right. I like that analogy with the bicycle riding. I think that's perfect. Because you're I always tell people when you ride a bike, you don't want to have a whole lot of pressure on your pedals. You want to spin, so you're not quite a hamster in an exercise wheel, but it should feel rather effortless when you're pedaling. And then once it starts to be more difficult, then downshift. And then that makes perfect sense. I'm just kind of thinking of my tele turns, like this year I've had such fluid tele turns. I kind of felt like, because I say telemark skiing is the fly fishing of skiing.
Yeah.
And this year, this is weird. My friends would say, I don't do drugs, but they go, man, you must smoke some good weed or something. Because when I was doing my turns, I was like, this is what a fish feels like in the water. It's just fluidly back and forth, all the way down the run.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more of that level of zen, I guess you'd say, with Telemark and everything like that. And yeah, I guess that's why we have probably the reputation of you got to smoke a doobie or two before you do this sport.
Yeah.
But it's like when you're saying with the cycling and stuff, you don't want your legs to feel like they're just free, just going willy-nilly.
Yeah.
It's like feeling like that there's traction with that road underneath.
Yeah.
And that's the same with your Telemark, and you're feeling like the crushing of the bellow, and that's the traction on the road, but you still got that slow progressive revolution to the next lead leg.
Yeah. I also liked what you were talking about, how people, when they're alpine skiing, they get into a position and they're set. Doesn't take long for the lactic acid to build. And I didn't spend too much time alpine skiing as a person, and a couple of turns in and I'm like, oh shit, no man, go back to telemark turns. Because I don't know if it's because of my knees or whatever, but it's like instant. Within 3 or 4 turns, my legs are talking to me.
Yeah, it can sometimes not take much for especially people in Alpine, and it doesn't take much of being in the sort of slightly wrong position at all. I always say to people, if your quads are burning, and if this is at the sort of intermediate lower end side of things, when you start to go advanced, yes, everything should be burning a little bit more because you're working hard.
Right.
But if you're on that lower scale and your quads are burning and that's it, sorry, but you're hanging back. So you're sitting on the toilet right now.
Yes.
That's not a good look. Bring it forward.
Yep.
Yeah. There are, horrendous terms of analogies you can use for that, but probably shouldn't be using that on this.
Yeah, no. That's good, because you know what? This year I kind of watched a lot of alpine skiers, and I remarked to my wife, I was like, take a look at them. A lot of them are sitting they're in the back seat. You know, they're not, and I don't know, I don't pay attention because I don't do many Alpine turns. I do them when I need to do them. But when I'm doing my tele turns, I actually feel like I'm hunting. I'm like forward, my arms are forward, you know, it's kind of a more assertive style, I guess, or stance, you know, and that's how I feel comfortable. Yeah.
Well, I think that's both Alpine and Telemark. I think, you know, it all comes down to finding that sweet spot, that sort of happy part where you're comfortably balanced on your equipment, you're able to steer the equipment well, and you're not putting undue pressure on your joints and things like that. And you know, if you're saying with Alpine turns on your Telemark equipment, your quads are going to feel it a bit more, because from an Alpine perspective, to Alpine on telly, you're going to have to be a little bit backseat compared to what you would be on Alpine skis.
That's right.
Because if you're proper Alpine, you're going to be
leaning forward. Planting. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
You're going to be going back to how I started telly, facing the snow.
and that's a segue into your level 4. So, any chance that you'll be at Interski?
I actually, I put my hat in the ring to actually try and get on the demo team.
Yes.
Sadly didn't make it, but I will be doing my best to be there as a supporter.
Yes.
That is my goal, because I did go toe to toe with my mentor and trainer.
Yeah.
And fair dues. I mean, I can't compete with the bloke that trained me, I suppose.
Right.
Sort of, you know.
I know my friend Keith Rodney.
Many years and experience on me, so.
Yeah, I know my friend Keith Rodney, who's like the coach of the U.S. team, and you know he tried out a couple of times. He didn't make it on the American team, but now he's on the squad. So, and I was like, they didn't take you? Holy cow! Like, he's a phenomenal skier, and but now he's on the squad. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think Interski is an awesome one. Like you know, obviously all the different, you know, federations and stuff getting together and sharing all their tips and tricks. And I'm a bit of a telly nerd in the sense that I have managed to get access to a few other say federations manuals and have read them and things like that. So to go to something like Interski would be awesome.
I know. I mentioned to my wife, I said, I wish I had kept up on my qualifications, because I would just like to go just to be around all that knowledge.
But do you, I'm not entirely sure of the rules and regulations.
Yeah, I think you have to be current in your
stuff anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'll have to look at that.
Yeah. I'll have a suss out for that one as well, because I believe, and this is sort of a smug one on the sense of, or my sort of make myself feel better for not getting on the team.
Right.
My mentor was like, oh, well, if I don't make it on the team, the telly nights are meant to be the best nights and they're so much fun, but they tend to overlap with when we have to do all these official bits and bobs. And I was like, so now that I'm like, oh, well, I get to do all that fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Hang out with the telly crew.
Yes.
And you get to go, you know, play bigwig and do all the important stuff.
Right. Yes. So, sometimes it's better to be a support crew. Yeah.
Yeah. Back of house. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool.
I mean, slightly gutted in the sense that, you know, we haven't had a female Telemark representative on the Australian demo team since the 90s.
Okay.
But he's hoping
just keep at it.
The next one? So we've got one in 2027 is the next one.
Right.
And then the next one after that.
Yeah, it's every 4 years, I think, right?
Yeah, so it's 2031. Yeah. Ooh, that's 2031. No,
man, I'm going to be old in 2031. Holy cow. Yeah. I'll be 68.
Hopefully, unless I somehow break myself or retire or something like that.
Right.
or just hopefully they retire and
Right. Yes.
throw it in.
Yes. Yeah. Now, the other thing I wanted to say, because you were talking about doing some in-house training, I don't know if you listened to the episode with Larissa Piton that I did. Yeah. You should reach out to her and talk to her about the programs that she runs and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think I definitely will be.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it's a bit of a sort of battle between doing it official with the resort and also, just me doing it for the love of it.
Right.
So I was lucky enough last season to get some in-house training happening.
Yeah.
Which means, I, do it on behalf of the resort, training other instructors, which benefits both sides because it means they can then log the training hours.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm doing it of my own free will, which I do a lot anyway, because
many of us do.
It's the only way to spread the tele love.
Yeah.
They can't count it in the same way.
Okay.
I believe. I don't know with that one. It seems to be a bit harder.
Yeah.
I mean, the big thing is also, I'm not sure whether others have found the same, is people having equipment.
Yep.
We get a lot of obviously international instructors, and you can only travel with so much equipment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good old baggage allowance tends to ruin that one for most people.
Right.
We're fortunate enough that we do have the lovely Bruce from Wilderness Sports helping out, and he's very much on board with trying to spread the tele love as much as possible.
Right on.
And I have to say, I always find it great to see when I have lessons with people using the same skis and everything that I learnt on.
Right.
Back in the day, but he helps us out quite a bit with equipment. And
so give him a shout out then. So where is Wilderness Sports? Because hopefully there'll be some Australians listening to this who want to get into.
Yeah, so Wilderness Sport, he's your go-to New South Wales guy. He has a setup actually at Perisher, so it makes it really
right on.
And super awesome for us instructors being able to run to him.
Yep.
In the afternoon or whatever and grab gear.
Yeah.
But he also has a shop in Jindabyne, in Nuggets. So, he's awesome. Always really helpful and looks after all my crew. And he comes out and tellies with me on a Tuesday night as whenever he can make it.
Yep.
And he's actually one of the original Telly Tuesday guys. He He was the original sort of telly man.
Yep.
So he's definitely someone to go to if you're in New South Wales and looking for someone to get gear off or any kind of backcountry sort of thing. He's someone to speak to, or even if you just want to have a good old long telly chat.
Yep.
As you can probably tell, I love a good chat.
Yes.
So as does he. So most people know if I go in there, I'm lost for hours.
Right.
Him and I just have a good old chat. But if you're in Victoria, there is also Simon at Everest. He's also a good one to. They're the only one. They're the only guys in Australia that we have helping us out.
Wow.
You do have rhythm snow sports, but support the little guys and the ones that are actually know their stuff.
Yep.
If you go to rhythm, they don't. It's not. It's like a teeny tiny.
Well, I bought my wife's bindings. Yeah, I bought my wife's bindings from Valhalla Pure Outfitters in Squamish, which is like
I know them.
4,000 kilometers away from me.
So I know. I funnily enough know them because I was in Whistler a few years ago.
Yeah.
Skiing with my family, and I'm like, I really want to telly for the last few days of our trip. There's this sort of point of like you ski slower for to be with them.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'd much rather be doing that on tellies than on Alpine. To only find that I had to travel from Whistler to Squamish to get gear.
Right.
Which was very lucky that I had one of my really good friends. I rang those guys up and it's like, hey, I need X, Y, Z. And my friend picked it up and brought it to me.
Oh, right on.
So, yeah. But I understand a little bit more so, I guess, why it's probably harder to come by over there.
Yeah.
As it's a hell of a lot more tiring.
Yeah. Yep.
But when heading over there, one of my friends here, I said, is there anyone that I could do some training with for Telemark over there?
Right.
And they gave me a guy's name, but obviously went over Christmas, New Year sort of period. So good luck getting any training with anyone. Yeah, exactly. Standard. But funnily enough, just pure coincidence, ran into the bloke that I'd reached out to about training.
Oh, cool.
Just whilst helping someone out on the slope.
Yep.
And really threw me because I'm like, he's in Telebooks, but Alpine. And then I looked at his name badge because he was in an instructor uniform. I was like, oh, that's the person that I was. Hey, look, I'm so-and-so. I'm the one that bugged you about training.
Right.
I love how you just see a pair of tele boots or any kind of tele equipment.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, you must be friend.
Yeah. I usually ski by them and go, nice boots. I know I had an episode this year at Owl's Head. I noticed some people ahead of me in the chair, they had tele equipment on. I was with a friend and my wife, and we skied by them, and the woman noticed me because I had on my Telemark Ski Canada jacket, and then I didn't see them the rest of the time. We came out of our locker room after lunch, and I was waiting for my wife. I probably shouldn't say that, but I'm always waiting for my wife. And this woman skied up to me. She started talking French to me, and I was like, I'm English. You can talk. I could tell she was an Anglophone. And through conversation, because she asked if I gave lessons, and I said, well, I'm not current, but I have been an instructor. And I thought she might have been American. So I said, I'm trained in the U.S. and in Canada. And then she said, do you know Woody? I was like, John? Anyway, so this is a woman that our common friend, John, who lives in Northern Ontario, has told each other about, that my cottage is 20 minutes or 15 minutes from her house, but she skis at a different mountain, and it was just by chance that she was at our hill. So yeah, it's a tight-knit community.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. And as you say, I'll often ski out to, nice gear. I always feel really weird doing it when I'm in Alpine gear, but I'm like, I'm so jealous of you right now. You go up to them and it's just sort of automatic friend. So, skiing around Perisher and stuff like that, no matter what, I will always generally try and approach skiers and sort of rope them into something. And so if you chat to many teleskiers, and if a nut job with bright pink zinc lips has spoken to them, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah, that tends to be the only thing people remember about me. It's like, oh, yep, okay, I recognize you now.
Right. I know most, I'm large, so people know me, and they always know my helmet. I bought a new helmet, but it's not as comfortable. I've gone back to the old helmet, and everybody knows me because of my helmet, I guess, and my size.
See, helmet used to be, I've always done the pink zinc, but helmet used to be a little bit for a while, but then the accident I mentioned earlier,
right.
Passion with that, had to change helmet.
Right.
Couldn't get the same color, same helmet, just in a different color.
Right. Yep.
A lot more subtle now. So, but
no, mine stands out
that way.
Yeah, I'm usually in a black jacket, black pants, or a blue jacket, black pants, and I have this neon green helmet that's well adorned with stickers. Yeah, lots of people comment on it. So, anyways,
you gotta find a way to stand out or be, different from the crowd. If you're an all black sort of get up, you got to have a bit of color somewhere.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't want to keep you because it's getting on in the evening there for you, and it's a Friday night. So I want to thank you for sitting down and talking with me. And maybe you can tell the listeners where they can find you on the social media platforms.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. This has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always up for this sort of thing and chatting telly and all that. So you can, easiest way to find me on Instagram is generally tends to be my go-to at Ski Antics or Sophie Studd.
Okay.
They're my go-to.
And on Facebook on Telemark Australia.
Yeah, especially now in the lead up to the Aussie season, Telemark Australia, you'll find me on there. I post a lot to try and get people involved with everything that I'm, working on throughout the season.
Yep.
But also for international ladies, I often post a lot on Chicks with Sticks, No Fix.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, because you know what, like, yeah, go ahead.
Chicks with Sticks, No Fix is it's been brilliant because it's something I always had in my mind, but someone else actually bit the bullet and put a name to it because I couldn't think of anything.
Right,
so I'm like,
right.
Great. Another girl out there. Yes.
I'll have to look that person up.
I don't know their name, but amazing. And it's been another nice platform.
Oh, nice.
Other than, Telemark Australia and stuff, and Telemark Skiing Forum and stuff like that.
Right.
But Telemark Australia is my main go-to to sort of hound people, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, and always happy to chat to anyone and everyone about telly.
Yeah, so if people are going to the Southern Hemisphere to ski and thinking, New Zealand, Australia, you definitely have to look Sophie up, ski with her, take some lessons with her. Yeah, and I want to wish you a big ski season this year. Hopefully you get lots of snow, and I look forward to seeing you on the interski team, the Australian interski team in the future. Yeah, in the far distant future, probably, but one day.
Yes, for sure. At least the next one, volunteer. You and me will volunteer. And enjoy some telly nights.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways, thanks very much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was fun chatting with you.
Anytime. It's been a blast.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, catch you later. Bye.
Well, there you have it, crew. Another episode of the Women in Telemark Skiing series here on the Skippy Report. A gigantic thank you to Sophie Studd for spending her Friday evening with me here on the Skippy Report. It was really great getting to talk a lot about Telemark stuff, and find a little bit about her backstory and flying in and out of the Arctic, flying scientists down there. That was really cool. Anyway, so if you're traveling to the Southern Hemisphere and you're skiing in New Zealand or Japan or Australia, make sure that you hook up with Sophie and ski around with her, take some lessons with her, and check her out on her social media. Chicks with Sticks, No Fix, Sophie Studd on Instagram, Telemark Australia on Facebook, and also on Telemark Skiing Forum. She says she posts there. So again, thanks for spending an hour and 10 minutes listening to good old Skippy talk to other people about their Telemark love. Peace out.